Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL One New York at the Madison Square Garden Theater. It is time for our final quarterfinal of the day. 3 teams have advanced. We know the first semifinal, of course, VG going up against Secret Team, and the second semifinal, EG versus the winner of this matchup here. But before we continue, how about a shout out to our fallen teams, Navi US, and Alliance. A round of applause for these guys, the great games that they showed today at ESL One. And let's go ahead and introduce our teams for quarterfinal number 4. They sent Alliance down to the losers bracket during the EU qualifier to get them here. And since their inception, they have grabbed a few golds. But if you look at their results, you'd think that their favorite color is silver. Here in New York, they're looking to change that. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Cloud9! And their opponents. This team was a bunch of wild witch doctors before changing their name and solidifying their roster. They've hung up their death wards in favor of Vendetta. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Sneaky Nyx Assassins! And to kick it off for quarterfinal number 4, let's send it to our experts over on the T-Mobile Expert Desk.
Thank you, DJ Wheat, once again on the introductions of our 2 teams. Very nice indeed. Liking the fact that we had already alluded to this this second place curse, and yeah, silver is the color, but not the one they want here. This is the start of their road to ESL One glory, and they go up against a team which is. Well, it's full of characters, at the very least. That's one of the things I'm going to say about it. And we'll discuss that team in a little bit more depth. But first, let's go through Cloud9's lineup and show you what that looks like. They have been in stupendous form, including this previous last weekend. Again, coming up just a little bit short, but having a great tournament nevertheless. Eternal Envy, Fata, Bone 7, AUI 2000, and Pile Die. The one that we're going to talk about, actually, is Bone 7. Malini.
He's an innovator, and you've been talking a lot about how, you know, the good players and the good teams will have cool strats, and anytime you see a Blade Mail, Nature's Prophet, that's him.
When you see a Mask of Madness bad Rhino,
it was him.
That's him?
Yeah. He does the weird things, and they oddly work more often than not. And
yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, sometimes he's like stuck in the build, but that doesn't mean that they haven't worked for the majority of the time. And overall, their strategy is just strange.
The Clockwork Orchid first was him as well, right?
Yeah, that really never caught on.
He tried it. He tried it.
Yeah, Seb, just a quick. We're only mentioning the good stuff here.
Okay, all right, sorry, my bad.
But yeah, Ben is right. Cloud9 in general always do the things that no one expects. I mean, no one's never really used Rod of Atos but Aoi, right? So
Storm Wisp offlane.
Yeah, Soul Ring Storm.
Luna no BKB whatsoever. Just like go and feed.
People do that in pubs all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think it's safe to say Cloud9 have a playstyle very unique to them.
They have very innovative players. Bone 7, we said, AUI, obviously, and Eternal Envy.
Eternal Envy.
Man.
Master of finding the little details.
He is so smart when it comes to the game.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he really is.
Okay, let's take a look at the opponents that they have right now in terms of their lineup. They are the Sneaky Nyx Assassins, and they look like this.
This is a happy bunch.
IX Mike, Fluff and Stuff, and White Beard.
They are happy to be here.
They are very happy to be here. I actually, I bumped into these guys upstairs in the player lounge. We were just watching some of the last game, actually, the EG Alliance game, and they were in high spirits. It has to be said.
Why does TC look so unhappy in that picture?
Yeah, he looks. Like
he knows he has a long night ahead
there.
of him. He's like, this is gonna be tough.
It's actually the same here.
He's got broad shoulders. He's ready to carry. Mike, there on the second right of your screen is
the American hero.
He's a little perplexed.
It's a computer.
It's a screen, Mike. You stare at it.
Yeah, that's definitely a computer. He's saying, that guy.
So you want to talk about the in-game play?
Well, let's just. Yeah. So there's the fact that Alex Mike came up with. And
he said he's gonna win to Gam. Yeah.
2-0.
That's actually a little too legible.
Anyone who follows Mike on Twitter or any of his Team Liquid posts or any of his Reddit posts actually knows that he types very fast and doesn't bother correcting.
Certainly
afterwards.
not with audio.
That's how I think of it anyway. I love the guy. I think he's great. He actually did seriously say to me when I was upstairs to him, I said to him, everything all right? He's like, yeah. We're just going to 2-0 these guys. And I was like, really? How are you going to do that? And he was like, take the throne twice. And walked away. And I was just like, that's a Mike response. Yeah, I get it, okay. So I was none the wiser, really. But they're in high spirits. They're going to have some fun. I know that they've got some things that they want to try. And I guess we wait and see what they've got. But they're up against formidable opponents right now.
I actually heard a rumor backstage in the production area that Cloud9 wasn't feeling too confident going into this. I thought initially they were trolling, but everyone was like reassuring me that no, that's serious. They actually don't feel like they're the favorites going.
Yeah, I mean these guys are no pushovers. They came through a tough qualifier. We know what they can do on a good day. They can play a high level Dota.
They actually almost beat EG, I think, in a best of 5.
Exactly. So that we know that they can do that. This is actually quite a lot of pressure for Cloud9 in a weird way because it's a banana skin for them. They know that all the pressure is on them. They have to win this game. Yeah. So I would be probably feeling a little bit nervous if I were them as well. So
also because of the trash talk that can come out from Mike if they do lose a game, he's going to be like...
I don't think this matters about drafts or picks right now. It's just about winning the first game because if they don't, they actually lose the mind game for game 2. And they're already behind. It's going to be tough. What do you think, Sepp?
I think that for SNA, TC has been performing quite well. He has been the playmaker, and now he's facing versus Farah, which is Farah is one of the best solo mid players in my opinion. His 1v1 is really good. I think he has been a bit underperforming in LAN situation, which is quite surprising. But if that guy can play his A game, it's gonna be really rough for TC. He's better. He has to make sure he has a good matchup mid, else he might get crushed.
I actually think TC has been overperforming personally, and I think that Fluff can draft for him very well. And Liquid had a hard time drafting a good hero for him, and they gave him Viper and Razor, which anyone can succeed with. And now it's more like Viper, Razor, sometimes a little bit of
DP a lot.
Death Prophet. Yeah, it's heroes that are like easy to succeed with. But if he's in a difficult matchup, like you said, they could easily topple.
But I disagree with the overperforming. If anything, I think 2013 showed us just how consistent of a player TC is on the highest level of things. He can really, really deliver each and every game.
Was he? I thought that was only for TI4.
No, then in 2014, he really fell off. He never caught his stride with Team Liquid, and he just seemed as if he was not a factor in that team at all.
Definitely.
Compared to some of the other players, like Boykva, for instance. And so him reuniting with his two lost compadres in Fluff.
I mean, it's a great point because I actually felt like maybe they needed to rekindle some of that spirit that they had at that TI with Team Liquid. It was such a great run.
It's something we've seen with Team Secret, where you you make a new team, you get something to fight for, and suddenly you rekindle that passion for the game, and I think that's what happened with TC.
I feel like SNA is the team that if they get some momentum, if they find ganks, they find good kills, they might feel confident and
relax,
might help them to win.
Enjoy the game.
And Cloud9 is the kind of team that actually is okay dropping many. Like I've seen them go like 0 to 20 versus Nubians. They were like Pyradai just feeding and like I'm like, is he doing it on purpose? And they won the game.
Yeah, no, it's the feed meta. We know about this meta. It's all good.
It's
okay, prediction time.
I said Sneaky Nicks Assassins.
Did you?
Yeah, that was the team. Now I know most people said Cloud9.
Yeah.
Can you stop giving away our predictions?
I'm sorry. Yeah, whatever. I said Sneaky Nicks.
Okay, well, you're one for 3 right now.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad.
It was a good one.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Malini?
I could finish 50-50.
True. Yeah, and that would be the same as Malk because he's probably not going to go for the same pick.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a minute.
I had Cloud9 2-0. I think it's more difficult to call than the Team Secret matchup, though.
I have Cloud9 2-0, but I'm a bit more disturbed now that I heard the apparent rumor from the player launch.
Okay.
Yeah. 2-1 is
a little bit safer. But
I think Cloud9's going to come
with Cloud9, so you two with Cloud9.
Cloud9.
Cloud9 as well. So 3-1. I can tell you, actually, that the guys at home have voted 79% in favour of Cloud9. Sorry, Mike. I did try. I did, go on the website a few more times, maybe than once.
That's about 3-1.
Yeah, it's about the same. So
Yeah.
I think you guys are pretty much in agreement with what people think in the crowd and at home. So
I represent the people who are wrong, and I'll do that. No problem.
And you've been very consistent.
Very
Period.
consistent, yeah.
Absolutely
Keeping it
fine.
real.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the mystery has been solved.
I'm glad you actually
It's another
found.
hashtag that we've had invented today.
I'm really glad we found someone that's actually worse at predicting them.
Well,
yeah.
let's not get too ahead of
Wait,
ourselves
wait, wait.
right now, because he could end up with 50%, and you could
Yeah,
end up
I'm
with the
2-1
same.
so far.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you could
So
end up
far,
with 50-50.
Just
so.
let me enjoy that.
All right,
that
okay.
lead
Well, the
event.
fact that
I'm
you've
leading.
even got one right astounds me, frankly, because
Thank you.
your Frankfurt form was awful.
I've been working on that.
Right.
I've been trying. Like I'm
Have you
at
actually
home.
been
I
watching
just,
some
I-
Dota?
Exactly, and
Right.
I just try to predict. I stopped
I
playing.
saw you
stopped-
playing, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I
Because I
realized
just
that you
wanna
had to
predict.
watch some stuff.
I just lose on purpose because I predicted I will lose. That's the easy one, right?
Oh, so you're betting on yourself now.
Exactly.
That's illegal, right? You're not allowed to do that.
just-
I'm pretty sure.
Officer.
Betting my pride.
Throwing games.
You can bet your pride.
Guys, would you like to come in and join us on this? We're just having a private
Well,
conversation.
I called the cops on him.
You what?
I called the cops on him.
Really? Why?
All right.
What do you do?
Match fixing.
Oh, good point. Yeah, let's do that then.
Now, please.
Okay. Okay, predictions are in. Drafts, close by. We're almost ready to go. What are we expecting? Anything crazy this
Drow
time around?
Visage should probably be banned.
Visits definitely. Not so much Drow Ranger.
I don't know. I would say so. I think I only saw them lose like maybe a couple times. One was a team secret, so you can kind of throw that one out. But they've had wild success with it, and even teams like Newbie have to ban it out in the first phase.
Oh yeah, but if you compare the two and their strengths on it, I feel like Visits is far and away the best hero and the most stable hero in Cloud9's lineup, just because of how extremely good Aoi is on it.
Yeah, he really is.
So
TB is also a hero
That is
that Cloud9 really likes.
yeah,
So I don't think they want to give
So
away
we ban
TB.
Visage and TB.
yeah, that's what I would do.
But
Yeah.
then you do let a lot of other heroes in that are like...
That's okay though. It's not
Yeah.
Cloud9's strength. That are
Yeah, it's like
they get Panda.
well, not really.
But yeah, Cloud9's strange. It's you'd have to ban differently versus them than any other team.
I still remember that Pilot Eye silencer, and then it's like they are creating space, the supports for the cores. They kept on dying and dying, and usually you're like, okay, that's wrong. They're gonna lose, and they actually, it was working, and
Yeah.
like for the first time, we support players are low to feed. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'm just doing what Pilot Eye does. Just don't flame me.
Okay. Looking ahead a little bit, while we've got a little bit of time, I'm hearing we're just sorting a few issues out. So we've got a little bit of time to talk about tomorrow as well, because semi-finals are incoming tomorrow. We've only got one team defined. It's going to be one of these two on the stage, obviously. No real surprises in the teams that we've had go through, perhaps. I mean, you probably could have argued maybe Na'Vi could have sneaked that one through, but in general, Alliance probably could have sneaked past as well. But
I think it's safe to say the favorites went.
yes,
went on.
yeah. Even if it was only a small amount of favoritism between them. If we end up getting Cloud9, I'm trying to make sure that Mike's not hearing me right now, because if he is, he's just going to come backstage and I'm going to get punched or something. If it ends up being Cloud9, which we think it will in terms of the the spread, what does that do for the four teams through? I mean, we've got the teams that we thought we would get, but in terms of the matchups, they're going to be stupendous, aren't they?
Oh yeah, the EG Cloud9 is a classic now.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah, I think EG actually has quite a struggle with Cloud9 in the past.
They do.
I think it's PPD has a hard time figuring them out the same way he does with every other team, and for good reason. I mean, they are incredibly hard to predict. So yeah, I think Cloud9 EG is sort of a dream matchup. Of course, Vici Gaming against Secret is probably the one I'm the most into.
I mean, I can't wait. I mean, you have no idea how this is going to pan out.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, on one hand, I'm sort of thinking, well, Vici could just roll that one 2-0. On the other hand, Secret could roll it 2-0. I mean, it's that wild, isn't it? We just don't really know how it's going to pan out. We're expecting a close game. We're hoping for a close game. But who knows? I mean, that's the great thing about the new patch. I mean, long may it live, I think. Maybe you can have a new patch every 2 weeks. No, actually, no, scratch that. That's a terrible idea.
That's a bit too much to get used
Bit
to.
wild.
I think this one really took its toll on most people in the community.
What is very? I just watched that. Actually, Bone 7 is the one sitting in the middle, and usually when you position yourself like this, it's because you're the call maker, you're the leader in game, and he's the offlaner, and that's not something. I don't think any team has the offlaner making the calls. So this is very interesting, in my opinion. He might be the one doing the calls for Cloud9 since he's spreading the orders left and right.
Maybe. What do you think?
Haven't got a clue. With Cloud9, nobody really knows what's going on.
We don't know we're back to that again. Okay, so they're basically Mind 9 or Cloud Games.
I was a bit like Bulba in this. Like Bulba was just on the phone constantly when the picks weren't going. I was just taking a nap right now in his chair.
Yeah, they're pretty chilled.
Well, you know they're going to do something strange.
Just get me my visage.
Yeah, he's just like, just do whatever. I'll just...
Random picks, random bands?
I want to see Paradise Bounty Hunter. That's the most
really
fun to
good.
follow.
They have very greedy supports, but rightly so. They are, like, both Paradise and IOI are so good at... If you give them space, they're going to pay back. They can create so much space later on in the game. They have heroes like Lions, Silencers. We said Visage, obviously. So if you will see the cores from Cloud9 just, starting to walk or just literally AFK. Just wait till AUI and Paradise get their level 6 and get their farm, the Blink Daggers, the 4 staffs, whatever they need to actually be effective in the game.
But what about something everyone knows about Cloud9 and that, they know about them. They don't exactly know what they're going to do. But SNA is a team that probably, I don't think they've ever been in a major LAN before.
No, and I think it's both something that works against them, but probably also for them, that they don't have much experience against any of the teams participating here, just because of how these teams keep on matching up against each other in LANs around the world, and of course in the qualifiers for them. Whereas, what works against them is the fact they don't have the experience against these teams. What works for them is that these teams don't really know what to expect too much out of SNA. It's not a team that they've had time to sort of pay attention to.
But underestimate them at your peril, because
exactly,
they can play great games, and we've seen it in the past.
And everyone loves a great underdog story.
Oh, of course. Especially an underdog that can come to a tournament like this and and play the big guys.
Yeah, I've watched them a lot, and I don't think that they're that far of underdogs. They fared pretty well in the TI qualifiers.
I mean, that's why I wouldn't necessarily call them underdogs, more a banana skin, because they are genuinely that banana skin.
They run weird things though. They run sniper. They just run They ran like Ursa with a Mjolnir.
They are very disciplined.
It's strange.
They are very disciplined, I think.
I haven't seen that one. That sounds really odd to me.
It was really odd. I was like, what in the world is going on? And he just destroyed people. Ush has the strange builds, which is cool.
Okay,
definitely.
I'm gonna make you the manager, Pyrian Flax, of SNA right now. What do you tell them before this game?
Listen to Fluff. I think that's what you got to tell him. He's a very smart guy, very dedicated, and I think he's very driven. He's like one of those people that is the kind of guy that when everyone else has stopped and gone to watch TV or something, I bet he's the guy pouring over replays and analyzing it and stuff. So I think that he's a guy they need to listen to. He's kind of quiet kind of guy. But I think they just need to listen to him. And TC's quiet as well. But he's the kind of guy that will just motor on and trust in their abilities.
Yeah, Mike's given several interviews about Fluff and said that just how cool he is to have around, and he's played with him a lot as well.
Yeah.
Lots of different teams. And he's mentioned that kind of cool, methodical way. I think he actually said, I might be misquoting, so don't quote this, as it were, but I think he actually said he's probably one of the most intelligent players he's ever played with in terms of wanting to know more about the game. He just reads and watches and just continually tries to update his knowledge.
On the other side, you have EE, who is arguably even more so into the Dota, trying to know more about the game.
That's why I think if you come up with those funky kind of builds and mechanics and trying to exploit stuff, that's what I like the most. That's what I admire the most. Being really mechanically gifted is amazing, but being able to say, hey, you know what would work, and trying something out, it's appealing. It's because everybody has their stupid ideas that they think are clever. Like, oh, I like to build this first and that first, and I like to go here, and everybody just goes, that's pathetic. But then when you see someone who does it and is good at it, you feel inspired.
Yeah.
And then you go and ruin games for other people.
I really feel like Envy just invented many ways of playing Duo Ranger, Naga Siren, even Tinker. Like
Klinks is the one I remember
Klinks,
the most fondly.
Everybody just copies that guy. Whatever he does, you copy it. It could be for the items, could be for the skill build, the decision making, anything. The spell usage.
Yeah. They're actually all trendsetters in their own right, and they've recently picked up Fader, and he's also one of the people that has a designated band to him, or at least had in 81 with the Troll Warlord. So all of them are very unique in how they approach the game, and they're all very try-hard, in a good sense.
The only thing I will say is that when these guys try these new strats and new approaches and new styles, You bump into it in pub games for the next 2 months,
Yeah.
and whoever uses it completely fails miserably at it because they're not as good as those guys, but they insist, no, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
the Blade Mail Nature's Prophet is probably the most popular build I've seen from competitive play carry into public games.
I would say it was implemented in public before, though, or do you think it's actually Bone 7? I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I'm actually
Okay.
just jumping on what Ben said. I had
Okay.
no idea it was Bone 7's idea.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I'm just trusting Ben on this.
Okay, fair enough.
He's a knowledgeable guy.
Okay.
The one that I love playing against the most is the Blink Mask of Madness Drown Ranger because you just kill him like 4 hits.
In public, it's a gift.
Yes. But Envy makes it work, strangely.
Mask of Madness is the one item I hate going. Just because I always end up just taking
Well, you're like the Bloodseeker, and
the added damage.
you can speak volumes to.
Yeah,
some
now
sort
now
of
it's
individual.
ruined.
Yeah, it has been ruined. But I remember when you watch other teams play against them, they always check the trees because Cloud9 they always play in the trees.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think some of the other teams like to play, but Cloud9 is really just they spend half the game there.
They should have recruited HY.
It's. But as long as you know how to play against them, I think they're not that formidable. So again, that's what SNA does have going for them. They know they should have a pretty good general sense of what Cloud9 is going to do. Although the heroes may be not easy to predict, but in general, their playstyles are very similar.
I think it's a good match to really round off the day of Dota.
Yeah, very
I
interesting.
think it's going to be, all the series have sort of been unique in their own right. There's no trend going through the entire day. It's like, okay, this series have this trend going. We're going into a new match, and it's completely like something completely
Yeah, you're
different.
right. I mean, we thought we might learn something about the new patch and how the teams were going to line up, particularly in the draft phase and bans. And we thought we did after 3 games. We thought, okay, Batrider's either a first pick or a first ban. Yeah, we've got it, magic. And then you go into the second match, nobody cares about Batrider, whatever. And then you go into the third match, oh, he's back again, but maybe not banned or picked in the third. I mean, there's been almost no patterns at all today. Is there anything that we can pick out of any of the drafts? That I mean,
Death
Nature's Prophet's been played a lot today.
DP.
Death Prophet, DP's been played a lot
Death
as
Prophet
well.
and Panda
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nature's Prophet are probably the only three
those
heroes
three.
that-
Skyrath,
Only played in the
he's
first
banned
game.
often.
Yeah, he's banned
But only played in the first game.
He was
We haven't
ignored
seen him
by
since.
EG and Alliance, I think.
Yeah.
Completely
I
ignored.
thought he was banned.
He was banned?
At least
Yeah, he
last
was
game.
banned. Yeah,
he was
yeah.
banned.
was,
but we're
okay.
only 1 game today with Skyrath.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
here's a question for you. Given that we've seen all that, do you think that that means that the current patch suits a lot of different playstyles?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too early to say.
Because I was thinking that maybe it's just that nobody's nailed the right one yet.
Even the 81 version, I mean, you can play so many heroes now. The game is really balanced. I feel like many playstyles are okay to use. So
Yeah.
I still think the bottom tier heroes are just like unplayable though.
yeah, there are some heroes that you just
but
can't play.
the-
We did see Goblak and his new Virtus Pro lineup pick up the Space Cow, Spirit Breaker. So
I do think sometimes they try and buff heroes by giving them an Ags upgrade, but you think they're never going to get that. So it's kind of like, that's not really a buff hero.
I'm missing this Sven in that tournament so far. I think it's a really good hero.
I'm still
right now.
waiting for Spectre.
Oh yeah.
that too. We haven't seen
We've had
Spectre.
bans.
Are you?
We've had some bans.
Yeah, he's been banned.
Yeah, but we
basically.
haven't seen any picks yet.
There's a lot of viable picks, I feel, that hasn't
Yeah.
really been brought out just because the teams probably knew each other fairly well and felt comfortable doing this against them and so forth. But yeah, Spectre and Sven are 2 heroes that I would have seen. I had another one in mind, but
Do you feel that there's been an ultimate combo that we've seen today? Either a pairing or
Death
a
Prophet,
3 or a
Nature's
5? Yeah.
no, Secret Game 1.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was
That was the coolest combo.
by far
it's
the
the
best
coolest, yeah.
execution
Like that was.
of the whole day.
Yeah,
But is it something you think other teams will take away?
Oh,
and go,
no.
No, I mean, I think it's unique to them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The Batrider silencer combo from Alliance.
You're brutal.
Yeah, that's harsh.
I was rooting for Alliance, man. I thought they were the better team today. Whatever.
The hookshot cog combo.
They let me down. All right. Anyways.
We saw a little bit of an 8-1 combo with the Tiny Wisps as well earlier on. I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
you know,
that was a
back
good one as
to
well.
Pre-TI4 stuff. I mean, we saw quite a bit of it actually at Frankfurt as well. So hopefully we can get into the draft. Being told that we are moments away from it for game 4 of the day, or match 4 of the day, game 1, our last quarterfinal of the evening. It's the Sneaking Nyx Assassins, the Banana Skin, or the Underdog, or whatever you want to call them. They are playing in their last game of the evening against the Titans of Cloud9, fresh from another second place last weekend in another major tournament, and searching for that. What do they need to do? What is it? You know,
Cloud9 or Sna?
Yeah, Cloud9. In terms of just making that one little step, maybe it's like silver, gold.
Oh,
I think that's
wait,
too early
to win
to
this
tell.
game or
No.
No, just
I think
in,
he
just
means
in
the
terms
tournament in
of-
general.
Not just this tournament, but any tournament where they can just make that stop finishing.
I think they
second.
need to stop losing in 25 minutes. I think that's the one their most glaring weakness is that they can just lose the game very, very early.
Get past that early game stage.
Yes, that's their biggest weakness, and oftentimes they just draft way too greedily because most teams can't punish it. But when they do, they just straight lose.
5 seconds
That would just make them a lot.
Is that a Marana ban?
You know, I'm really glad
is.
that this is the last series of the day, because if the Alliance EG series had been the last, I think everybody is a bit more tired towards the end of the day. We wouldn't have really appreciated it for what it was, which was a really good 3-game series. Whereas this is the perfect end, because this says I have no idea what they're going to pick or how they're going to
Call it,
play. So
Jacob.
that's
That's
kind of
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I think that was very, very obvious. One thing I do want to note, though, another surprise that hasn't really come out is the no one's really going for Legion Commando. Did that?
No.
never-
Yeah,
just
what's
never-
up with
Actually,
that?
and that's a
hero's
really good
good.
point,
Yeah.
because
What's up with that?
that's another one that's actually gone through the roof in terms of win rates, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Say
Legion
2P.
Commander, especially if you do like roaming support and control the runes and everything and set up kills for him as soon as
I think
he's
he's
6.
an offlaner.
He's like,
Or she's an offlaner.
I think she's a mid hero.
I think she's.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's mid.
She's so good.
Because if she can get levels and a bit of money, she can go off and just wreck people in the other lanes. If she can, like, it's so snowbally, but
And her item progression is really, really good. I mean, she gets online so quick.
Have we even seen a ban today?
no, she hasn't been
yes.
approached. I don't know why, but
Completely avoided.
I don't know if it's because she's fairly hard to lane, sort of like a Blasi.
So there's one of the 3 that we have
she's
seen a
open.
lot of today, which is the Brew coming out again.
The Skyras is available, so is the DP.
Death Prophet is another one that we've had a lot today. So I think we're starting to see that kind of pattern come along, aren't we?
The TC hero.
It's a bit anticlimactic.
Yeah. Nature's Prophet now? Just to,
I would call
you
it
know,
Skyras right now.
just to prove us
It's
right from
really-
earlier on.
DPMP.
Skyrath is open.
Batrider.
Solid pick.
Yeah.
Especially against the Brew.
We've seen quite a lot of Batrider today as well, actually, to be fair.
Play Batrider well. I know he plays a very nice Clockwork as well as a Void, but I'm not too confident it's Batrider. I just haven't seen it that often. And I think it really takes an astounding Batrider player to warrant a first pick.
It's been nerfed a lot of times now, and I think one thing that really stood out with Bulldog's Batrider is he really didn't seem comfortable knowing how long of a range on
Yeah, the
Lasso,
casting.
or how long the lack of range on Lasso was.
Yeah, he was always like too far. Or
Yeah.
So
He was
he had that
lacking
second.
that like 200 range or
They
something.
always got Yules, like the self.
Even before, there were some jumps really that where he was just out of range every time. It gave so much time for EG to actually react and to Yule him.
But I don't really see anyone playing this but Mike, so it
Has to be, yeah. There's always the wood Batrider, but like as a fourth position, but I don't.
10 seconds.
It's actually very, very greedy. But you can always play an offlane plus a Batrider just farming jungle.
And as you were saying, Mike does have a fairly good Faceless Void, and when they pick a Death Prophet, I would assume that they would have gone for that. But
Yes.
so he must feel confident in the Batrider, I feel.
What hero is EE going to play?
Cloud9's turn
Are
to
they going to go for like a Morphling and just you can't kill them through silence and through lasso and just split push them to death? Or is it more going to be up in your face? We're going to fight you head on. I guess that's not Cloud9 style though.
I have no idea.
I think that dictates most of their style though.
Another scenario could be that Cloud9 is very confident in winning this
10
and possibly
seconds
hiding a bit
remaining.
of the strategies. I mean, both teams have gone with some very cookie cutter
5
picks right now.
seconds remaining.
The exact 4 heroes that we've been saying was popular throughout the day. Both.
I think it's too risky to do so though. In this format,
you want to get that first game out of the way before
Yeah, yeah.
you start goofing around.
Yep.
Well, this is not goofing around. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
This
No,
won't-
exactly.
Yeah.
Bruce,
So
Skyrath
the first game, I think
is,
this is just like sort of feeling each other, getting a.
Feeling each other.
Filling each other
Really?
out, or
What?
filling each other out?
I thought we'd done with that when was it Cinder and earlier said that me and him were going to go down together. I mean, you know, who knows? I thought we were done with that kind of stuff.
I think Spectre would be a very nice pick for Cloud9. And if SNA
We've got to see it at least
don't
once.
ban
today.
it now, I think they're in for a lot of trouble.
Who?
What? I think that SNA is in for a lot of trouble if they don't ban the Spectre. Just because it's just really difficult to kill, and I don't know if they have the clean level of execution needed to keep the Spectre down the entire game.
Yeah.
And if not, then Panda will just delay the game until this.
And there's not really a better pickup right now than the Spectre for the one position.
Yes, I would agree. But I mean, Seeking Nixas could technically take it for themselves too.
I think they lack something to deal with the Batrider jump right now because Kairos cannot stop the Batrider. And I think it's the same for Brewmaster. They might want to get something to actually cancel the jump
Like
somehow.
SD or Abaddon.
Yeah, SD,
Vengeful.
Venge,
Vengeful is my
Abaddon, Silencer.
Reels.
Well, there's your Spectre.
Yeah.
And it's actually for SNA, so that's the first Spectre. You're going to be...
That is the first one of the day. Well done.
I think, yeah, they either had to ban it or take it right there. It's you can't give it to Cloud9, but I don't know how it's the first.
The Spectre DP combination, it's so annoying to fight.
It's really
so
solid
hard.
picks from SNA here.
Yes.
It's so hard to
Plus
fight.
a good
this.
drafter, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
When you're playing as Kairos support and you face that Spectre, they probably want to get an AA now, or it's really hard to take any sort of fight. Because the global AoE damage, you can't really block that damage. Your positioning, you can position as good as you want. It
So does
doesn't really
Cloud9
matter.
just draft super greedy and just like, oh, we don't care Spectre farms, we'll just farm more?
They could go for it, but yet again, Spectre is really one of the best late gamers, in my opinion. He gets outcarried by some heroes, but still.
But I
he
think
just kills them.
Cloud9 is one of the best late game teams.
Lich.
So they want to contest the Spectre farm. That's
Yeah,
for
they
sure.
really want to go for the lane dominance. I think this can really, really hurt them going into the late game. I was thinking that if you don't want something that negates the Bad Rider Lasso, you'd go for like a Silencer, one of the most obvious counters for Spectre, where you're like, as soon as he haunts, you just global
That's yeah.
and keeps him out of the fight.
Cloud9's turn
It's
I mean,
gonna
if
be
you're
so
a
hard
quick
for them to
Spectre, you can
fight.
just like
That's
haunt Reality Manta.
Yeah, but then you don't get the haunt effect. Like most Spectres played sort of greedy, right?
Oh yeah, I suppose. But if you're versus Silencer,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't think Silencer is that great of a counter Spectre at all, personally.
I don't think Cloud9 have...
Even in the laning phase, I think Silencer does really well against the Spectre.
What do you think of the AA? First time
Someone
today?
else called it. I think it was one of you two.
Wasn't me.
10
It
seconds.
must have been Seb then.
It was the AA?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good with both Batrider, Spectre, even DP. Going high ground versus that combo, it's almost impossible. So they will push it to late game. They will have a late game Spectre, which is what you want to have when you draft that hero. So right now, I don't think Cloud9 can actually fight 5 versus 5. They can't go late game. They will have to crush SNA in the laning phase and just snowball. And if they do like silly mistakes or give away kills they shouldn't, they are in big trouble in my opinion.
From that, it sounds like Snaz already outdrafted them. Is that what
I do think that, yeah. I think that Cloud9 is in big trouble. And they just drafted the Morphling versus a 7-second silence and an AA blast.
It's
like,
good versus
nice
Bad
blast.
Rider, though.
It is okay versus Bad. I do agree, but I think Morphling gets... Like, they can kill Morphling easily in fights.
I don't think it's optimal.
I agree with Seb. If this is evenly matched teams in terms of experience and individual talent and execution, I would say the Dire has the upper hand here.
Oh, yeah. It's just lane dominance from Cloud9. They feel like they have the better individual skill and that they can just outplay them and win the game. But yeah, with this patch, even if you outplay them, if you drop 2 or 3 kills by trying to go high ground versus this super annoying defensive lineup, then the game becomes even again. So
You think Bone 7 is going to play the Brewmaster?
I've never seen him on Brewmaster actually.
Fada, right?
It's Fada usually.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Fada, but
It
it's
might
not
be
Cloud9 who did some offlane Panda?
Reserved
Am I thinking of a different team?
I can't remember. It might be them. I'm not sure. They can also double mid if they want to. They can play Lich and Morph mid and play Kara's Brewmaster safe lane, give a fast dagger on the Brewmaster and just try to snowball.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, and the DP is going to get crushed. I mean, the one thing with SNA's lineup is that AA, those supports are really greedy. They need levels and they can't really rotate. So sure, you're going to rotate the AA mid, but it's not going to stop a kill on DP. He can't really slow, he can't stun, he doesn't do anything. So when they jump on DP with Lich and Morph, A is going to die, for sure.
But it's strong enough to dissuade a aggro try from Cloud9,
That's true.
for sure.
I think both Tidehunter and Sand would be really good here.
I love Sand King for SNA.
Banned.
Dire team
Banned.
Can't have him.
Shaker's also
There you go.
awesome. Shaker's the lineup from SNA, man.
That's
It's
really
very
good.
scary.
It
If
is
they
a
don't get
really
crushed,
good lineup.
if they don't get crushed, fighting this is going to be a nightmare for Cloud9. I'm not sure what they want to last pick. It has to be something out of the box if they want to have an even draft.
I mean, both Brewmaster and Morphling can sort of deal with this at all points in time. But Lich and Skywrath is going to have a terrible time late game.
It's going to be so hard for them.
Yes. So what's Bone 7? What's the Bone 7 hero?
I'm not sure. I mean,
10
Clockwork
seconds
just
remaining.
Clockwork
might be okay, but he's gonna die in every fight. There's nothing he can do versus such a
5
lineup.
seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
Nature's Prophet gonna die a lot too.
Oh yeah, Nature's Prophet just gonna feed.
Reserve time.
Elder Titan?
Void is banned.
There's not.
It's really hard to call.
Centaur? The Centaur?
It's
Centaur's
first
banned.
ban.
It's tough.
It's really tough to call, actually. I don't think Team Burso is an option either.
Ricky?
Oh yeah, I would love to see love to see Ricky. Bounty Hunter, I don't think it's good.
Yeah, Bounty Hunter is not.
No.
It won't snowball hard enough.
Legion Commander.
Legion.
Bam!
This is actually
Okay,
really good.
game
I like it.
on. Legion Commander for the first time today. Spectre for the first time today. Both pumped up in the recent patch as well. And we're going to see them head to head as the two teams have finished their draft. It is time to find out whether Jack Etienne's tweet over the weekend is going to come true. He said, "We're heading off to New York to finish second in a Dota tournament again." Let's see whether they can go one step further. Their road starts right now against the underdogs, Sneaky Nyx Assassins. Your commentary team for this one, Capitalist and the Giraffe.
Thank you, Red. Thank you so much, Red Eye, for that introduction. I'm Capitalist. Joining me is the Giraffe, aka known as Cinderin, and we're going to be casting our last series of the night.
And our first series together.
And our first series together. Yes, that's true. Our inaugural series. I don't know. I just heard the experts just loving Sneaky Nyx Assassin's draft. I had to say I'm 100% behind it as well. Do you agree with the experts, though? Do you really love this draft as much as everyone else does?
I think they have a really good draft. The main weakness of Nyx Assassin's draft is that they don't have that good protection for Spectre early on. And Spectre is the kind of carry that you really want to get off to a good start. You're playing a lineup which... I mean, it's fair to say that for the success of Nyx Assassin's lineup, this Spectre needs to get good farm. And you're playing that into a lineup that, first of all, has a Lich who can rotate to the top lane and be bothersome.
Right.
And in addition to that, there's plenty of heroes who can make Spectre's life pretty miserable in the first 15 minutes. Brewmaster with Blink Dagger, very easy to catch her out. You've got a Skywrath with lots of burst damage. We'll probably see Eternal Envy maybe go for a shotgun build in the Morphling. So to me, this is not the easiest Spectre game either. They can even replicate Spectre against himself too. But as far as Nyx's draft goes in isolation, I think their heroes are really good, but I'm gonna favor C9 for the laning stage. And I think if you get behind a Sneaky Nyx Assassins in this game, it's gonna be difficult for them to come back once Cloud9 gains control, so they need to avoid it.
We heard the desk also say that we needed for our last pick to be something that was kind of game-changing, and I feel like this Legion Commander last pick works so well for Cloud9. I think it really abuses the fact that Sneaky Nyx Assassins don't really have their proper heroes to kick a Legion Commander out. You need a lot of early harassment, and I don't feel like the Earthshaker combined with the Spectre's kind of lack of laning presence. You know, Spectre really isn't that scary. When you come in with that support gank, the extra damage she adds can be pretty minimal compared to many other laning carries. I feel like the Legion Commander is really going to be able to push the envelope up against this lane and play very aggressively and get a lot out of this lane because of it.
Yeah, there's not really that much an AA and Spectre lane can do against pretty much any hero in the game. I think Cloud9 could be off-laning anything here and get something out of the lane. This dual lane just isn't that strong, but they're going to reinforce it with Whitebeard coming up as the Earthshaker, and then there could be some trouble for Bone 7 in this offlane, because what Legion Commander is really good at with Press the Attack is, of course, removing annoying slows and some damage over time effects. But if he gets blocked off by a Fissure, there could be some kill potential here. But even then, he's got boots, and Legion Commander has a pretty decent starting strength with 26, so he's fairly tanky here. Also want to point out, I think Cloud9 is pretty much the only team right now in the competitive scene to run the Legion Commander, and they run it offlane exclusively, I think. So this is nothing new from them. Oh, there, we're going to see right what I was talking about. Let's see if Bone 7 can get out of this.
Press the Attack goes out. He's going to move to the right side, and he will be perfectly fine. As that healthy dose of regen, man. I've actually watched
for him. There's another Fissure in 3, 2.
They're going to try for it. The block not coming out just yet from Whitebeard. He's holding on to it, but the Ancient Apparition could only throw a couple last hits over the cliff, and they will avoid using that extra bit of mana. So still, though, they forced the Legion Commander away for a little while. You could see how aggressive, though, Legion Commander felt. Middle lane, we do have TC taking a bit of damage, but this is to be expected. This Lich Morphling lane gotta be one of the most obnoxious dual lane mids, just because the Morphling is really not that bad in laning presence when it comes to that waveform, a pretty powerful nuke, plus that extra bit of distance. We do have a Fissure coming in, but not much is going to be made out of that one.
Yeah, there is no chance for TC to win this lane. If he can get off a decent trade, that's good. He's actually going to be first blood.
Oh, there it is.
Really long-range Frost Blast there coming in from Owie 2000. And yeah, the waveform over the top from Envy, I think it blocked him for a little bit so that Lich could catch up. So a very nice first blood here. And this is the problem for Nyx, right? We said it right from the start. If they get off to a bad laning situation, they're going to struggle to recover here. IX Mike is being crushed in the bottom lane.
Right.
The top lane is going fine, so Spectre is getting farm, which is really important, but they're really paying the price. TC is struggling in mid, already getting first blooded. You can't really fault him for it. He kind of has to try to get some farm, but even going in range for a Crypt Swarm puts him at risk almost at this point, so... Yeah, it's difficult for Nyx from the get-go, and they don't have good roaming either. Shaker and AA is not a good combination. They'll get really strong when they get their ultimates up, and I guess until then you just have to try to minimize your casualties.
Yeah, and you can see, like, I was impressed by X Mike, the way he started out this lane. He went ahead, he actually dragged one of the creep waves away. We also saw him fly out and place that early ward. All really good, like, out-of-the-box thinking for this offlaner, and yet he's still being crushed solely because the Skywrath Mage is just so strong as a harassing support, and especially up against some of those squishier offlaners, such as the Batrider, who, by going that boots first, does leave him exposed to that kind of harassment, as he doesn't have that much regen. Like, normally when we see Centaurs or those sort of heroes go up against the Skywrath Mage, they buy an extra set of tangos just to be able to deal with that, because eventually the Skywrath Mage runs out of mana. But with a boots first Batrider, there's no such luck here. Whitebeard, oh, barely missing out on that block, which would have been perfect, but they're going to get some return fire. Still, though, the lane is pushing out, which is really good for Cloud9. They're going to get some extra experience as Pylai jumps up here. And that will leave some room for the Batrider, but you can already see IX Mike is back to the jungle, farming up some of the stacks that the support's made for him.
I don't even think they've stacked anything for him, have they? He has to stack it himself.
There was one stack.
Oh, there was one. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He's level 3, yeah. So he did get a stack. So he is recovering here fairly quickly because of that. But that also means that if IX Mike is taking these stacks, the supports aren't. And it's a level 1 Earthshaker, which is not a problem right now, as long as Fluff is getting the levels on the AA. But I think it's really important that these kill attempts work. They have to get 1 or 2 kills sometime fairly soon for Fluff to get a level 6 at a reasonable time. I'm thinking something like between 10 and 12 minutes would be really good for the AA this game. If they don't, we could be looking at a really slow level 6. And I think for Sneaky Nyx Assassins, the most important level 6s are actually Fluff and Stuffs and the Spectres right now. And of course the Batrider, but that's going to come by itself.
Another stun comes out, and they will try and chase him away with the dagger, but still, they can't really do anything to force these heroes out, especially the Legion Commander with that press the attack, just being able to give you so much extra regen. She should always be able to stay in lane against this, but there's another downside. Like, the weak side of running the very level-dependent supports on the Dire side, the fact that you don't have, like, you just have this double pull, and that's it. And even that has been blocked out by the side of Cloud9. Sneaky Nyx Assassins don't really have a whole lot of source of experience for Fluff, as he's constantly sharing it with either Ush or with the early hard camp pulls. He's going to be sharing it with the Legion Commander because they just can't force her out of lane. She's always going to be able to jump in, get half of that experience.
Yeah, they even forced the Spectre back to base, which I think is a very big deal. They're playing a tri-lane up here, and Cloud9 has managed to bully out the safe lane carry with 2 heroes. So just the raw harassment coming in from overwhelming odds, as well as a couple of Arcane Bolts from the Skywrath Mage. This rotation from Pylai has been very successful. And since IX Mike went to the jungle, Pi didn't have to be bottom anyway. And now that Mike is back to lane, here comes Owie. He's level 5 on the Lich, so he's higher level than the offlaner of the Dire team here, and putting a lot of pressure. Also worth noting, Cloud9 have 3 bottles, so they are looking to play the rune game right here. Every single lane for them has one, and in the mid lane there's going to be Concussive Shot.
And with the follow-up waveform, they should be able to take it, but EE is actually out of mana here still, though the last nuke will come in, and there goes TC. The second kill being picked up by Cloud9. Another successful rotation by them. Mike will grab himself a haste rune and run into the middle lane to try and pick up some experience while the Death Prophet is gone, but still, a bad sign for Sneaky Nyx Assassin as the laning phase continues to go against them.
And EA is even going to get the other rune here, so he committed quite a lot in this mid lane, and he's going to be back to full health and mana whenever he pleases now. So with him and Owie both approaching level 6, I guess it's most important on the Lich. These 2 heroes I think they can team up and kill any hero on the map right now, the Morphling and Lich. We're probably not going to see any rotation from Eternal Envy. Generally, Cloud9 play very static lane farmers in the early game. You can see, for example, Fatsa hasn't moved yet in the Brewmaster, and because of that, he's got 45 CS in a 7-minute game. He's just getting complete free control. And his Brewmaster has been so scary in the previous Cloud9 games we've seen. Obviously not in this tournament, but in previous tournaments he has been playing out of his mind, mainly in the mid position. But I think Knicks have good reason to be worried right now when they see Fata coming in with an 8-minute blink.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, the other lanes are doing pretty badly, and you said it, man. The other lanes are doing badly. The Spectre is free farming, but really does that mean that much if she free farms for the first 7 minutes or does decently well in her lane, but immediately gets shut down by the 10-minute mark by a very, very early blink dagger from the Brewmaster, as well as the constant rotations from the other supports.
Yeah, she'll even have to deal with the duel later on as well, which is a great ability to have against Spectre. The way Spectre generally plays around in fights is by being very mobile with the phase boots and Spectral Dagger, but if you're caught by duel, that's 4 seconds you're just locked in place and will get burst down. Speaking of which, Ush is taking a lot of damage here, not gonna be able to pursue this.
They're down though.
On the receiving end.
Yeah, maybe the cold feet proc could go off, press the attack, gonna be able to free him from that one, and now it's going to be Fluff and Stuff, who's in some serious trouble. It's Bone7 trying to chase him down. One last right click is all he needs. Meanwhile, the Earthshaker taken out by the 2 supports. Now the duel goes off, just barely in range, and there it is. Bone7 will get the first win from his very first duel at 8 minutes in. That is insane, and the attempt at a snowball is already there for Cloud9.
Yeah, the lanes are just working out wonderfully right now for Cloud9. They couldn't have asked for a better start than this. The offlane, Legion Commander even has 22 CS in an 8-minute game, in addition to being that level 6. Their supports, Skywrath Mage is currently level 4, almost 5, Lich is 5, almost 6. And on Nick's side, we've got a level 3 Shaker and 3 AA. And there's just not that much potential for them to find kills until they get crucial items and levels up. They need a Blink Dagger on Mike, they need level 6 on AA. And I think they need the Spectre to play an active role in this game. It's great that Ush is getting farmed, but because he's kind of the only one having a very good game right now, or I don't know if we should call it very good, but he definitely gets what he needs right now. He has to put the team on his back and get them back in the game, because this is already looking pretty grim with about 3,000 golden experience in a 9-minute game with no towers down. That's a solid lane victory for Cloud9.
Absolutely. So you're thinking maybe the Spectre with the phase boots and the urn that he's going to be picking up, maybe go for even a drums or a little early Yasha or something along those lines. Just go for early damage and maybe a little bit of tank alongside that and try and be as active as possible with those ultimates, just because there's no way you're going to be able to farm up a quick Radiance at this rate.
I think they need to give Fluff the mid lane, actually. That's more important than anything. The Spectre, mid lane, Ike's Mike's going to get clapped, and there's a double damage. Fasa just easy kill here, 5 for 0. And yeah, if you don't put the AA mid right now, it's gonna the level 6 is gonna be way too late. They're playing TC in the jungle anyway, getting a couple of stacks, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, having Ike's Mike in that lane. The problem is, can AA really be there either, right? There's already the Blink Dagger being shown off by Fatsa here. He's now looking for his next kill. Whitebeard is next on the list. Primal Split is actually available. I don't think he's going to need it. There's a duel coming in.
Bone7's going to try and wrap him around. Nice jukes by Whitebeard so far, but I only think he's going to make it so far. Another stun goes out. Now Bone7's going to be caught. Lassoed up. Here comes the Exorcism. Wipes through one. Chain Frost bouncing around, doing a lot of work. Veta's actually on the run, getting slowed down a bit. And TC might just be able to catch up with him. He needs a little bit of Exorcism damage, plus the Crypt Swarm, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch up in time. Veta now has the blink, and he will be A-okay, but still good return there from Sneaky Nyx Assassins, making the right rotation, seeing what was going to be happening. There's very good Veta was going to be heading up to that top lane, looking for the potential pickoff on the Spectre, and Sneaky Nyx Assassins do punish them for that rotation.
That was such a great juke by Whitebeard right there.
Yeah, that was
like the only possible way he could have gone there to not die instantly. Avoids the duel by fogging out the Legion Commander, and then also fogs the Brewmaster on the way back. So very nice turnaround. Also, IX Mike was very close to
jump in middle again. TC, he will get off the ultimate and the waveform. They easily have enough damage. There goes TC, killing spree already for Eternal Envy. 11 minutes into this game, he is sitting at 5,800 net worth already, thanks to both the high amount of CS he's been able to get in lane, plus the kills. And you can see he's still wrapping around, looking for more. But I'm not sure if he's really going to be able to get Whitebeard. This is risky, but he's going to go for it. He's got the waveform, easily able to clean up that one.
Another one instead by saving the waveform here. Fluff.
Oh, blocks him out. Beautiful waveform. Gets ahead of him and gets that secondary kill. And there's just no rotation whatsoever. Top lane, the duel going on to Ush. He will survive through it, but not enough. Bone7 cleans him up with a last right click. May not get that extra damage, but he still gets the kill. TC will get at least some vengeance there. But obviously, Sneaky Nyx Assassins need something much, much more if they want to get back into this game.
I think trading any of the Radiant heroes for the Spectre is a good trade, apart from the Morphling right now. Even the Brewmaster, if he one-on-ones the Spectre and dies for it, as long as he gets the kill first, I still think it's worth it, because the only possible way for Nyx to come back into this reliably is if Spectre starts getting some big items, and he kind of has to fulfill a couple of roles at the same time right now. He needs to be active for his team, and at the same time he needs to get good farm, and that's just because if the lanes would have panned out better for them, then he could probably get away doing only one of those things, at least focusing very much on one instead of the other. But you just have this feeling right now that Ush, whenever Haunt is available, they need to try to find ganks. IX Mike is now only 200 away from the Blink, so that sets up very nicely for that. Fluff is still only level 5 though, and the Ice Blast is
so essential.
It's going to be so late here.
Yeah.
And you're just looking at the other heroes for Nyx, and you have a hero like Death Prophet, which they first picked, and it is an amazing hero in its own right, but as far as their lineup goes, I'm not really seeing the synergy with the rest of the heroes here. TC, Death Prophet wants to play like a teamfight push-oriented style, but they didn't draft to do that early on, unless their supports got levels, but from the draft in the beginning, they could probably see that that was kind of unlikely to even happen.
Right, so maybe the greediness of the supports, maybe they needed something that was a little bit more active. They're going to go for the push in the top lane, and will be able to get it too. And they just even leave Bone7 alone there to claim it by himself, because they know Sneaky Nyx Assassins, they're just not really that threatening right now. And if they are able to get a kill, it requires Sneaky Nyx Assassins to run like 5 heroes for that one gank. And at that point, is it really worth it economically? It just means that Cloud9 will be able to farm so much more of the map and out-farm you in this game if you have to commit so many heroes for one kill.
Yeah, we already see the aggression coming out from Cloud9. Bone7 is playing around in the dire jungle 13 minutes and only takes the big camp, does not go further into the jungle, which was a very good call here. He would probably died, but yeah. You can just tell Cloud9 are in their comfort zone, playing with a lot of confidence here. Interesting pickup here for Bone7. Blade Mail before Blink is a very unusual build-up. This guy obviously loves his Blade Mail.
Oh, absolutely.
Loves getting it on the Prophet as well, which is a very special build. I still feel like it's odd in most cases, and a lot of the time it's become pretty popular in pubs, and most of the times I feel like the build gets picked up and people don't really know why they're getting it. That's kind of weird. But do you feel like Blade Mail was the right call here? They have other means of engaging, but I feel like on Legion Commander, just that Blink is just the #1 item.
I think the Legion Commander, like going for the Blink when you're this far ahead makes sense to me, but I do love the Blade Mail just because, like, same thing with the Clockwork, like he can't be... There goes the ultimate. They're going to be able to chase him down easily. Look at that nuke from Bone7. Now they're going to go for more. Tornado onto Ush. He does have his ultimate as well as the dagger to be able to get himself away. Stun goes out. Whitebeard may be trapped because of this in his attempt to be able to save his carry. Worth it if he can save the carry, but of course, this just means one more kill for the side of Cloud9. Whitebeard trying to juke it around as much as possible, but he will still give up that inevitable death. Meanwhile, look at Eternal Envy. He's going to town on this tier 2 tower 15 minutes in, and it's not like Ush can do really that much to threaten the Eternal Envy. He'll just waveform away, and he knows that Ush can't really do anything else.
Yeah, I want to commend Whitebeard on his play there. He was porting out on the Shaker, and he actually cancelled it because he realized if he doesn't get a Fissure off there, they lose the Spectre. And sacrificing any hero right now to save the Spectre, I think, is definitely worth it for them. But the problem is, we'll keep coming back to this, but this game is just, the lanes just completely fell apart. Even if they pull out a really good performance right now, you just have the feeling that as long as Cloud9 play their heroes correctly and play their abilities correctly in the fights, a discrepancy of like 12,000 gold in a 15-minute game it almost doesn't matter what lineup you have. Overcoming this is just going to be so difficult. Just the raw item advantage. You've got a 15-minute Linkins on the Morphling with 5-0 and 106 CS. This is pretty much as good as it gets from Envy. And they can just keep farming and start getting more pickoffs whenever they feel like, because the whole map is just under their control already.
Right. The one thing I do want to go back to is the comparison. The Legion Commander going for the Blade Mail, I think, it makes a strong comparison to the Clockwork and how strong he can be versus the Death Prophet once you have that Blade Mail and able to provide that return damage. I really like it in this game, but I do love the Legion Commander in general just because I feel like maybe the Clockwork drops off a little bit going into late game compared to other offlaners, and since we're seeing these games stretch out so much, your late game potential is important, and I think Legion Commander makes an excellent replacement. Gets the stun off, Bone7 still looking for that opening, maybe he's regretting not having that extra bit. Whitebeard gets silenced up, unable to get off the Echo Slam. Bone7 will get one, but now gets pulled back into TC, and they will get some vengeance and possibly even more. TC's gonna look for the Eul Scepter, going on the Skywrath Mage, and this poor support, man, he's got no armor whatsoever. Skywrath Mage is notorious for being so squishy against that physical damage, and Death Prophet's Exorcism just rips right through him. Veda, he doesn't care. He's going to go for Ush right here, but is able to make that jump away. Bottom lane, he jumped to Eternal Envy, but maybe E can actually get this kill. Wait for him. Couldn't get it there. Now going to be hit by the Fissure. Won't be able to do much else. Back up to the top lane. IX Mike is being chased away by the Brewmaster. They're going to try and dispel, but it looks like this ultimate's going to be running out, and Feda really just does not have the mana or health to be diving past tier 2s, at least not yet. It's 17 minutes in Sin. It's a little bit too early for that.
I just look at the golden experience change in that one fight. It was a 2-for-1, but just with the how far Knicks are behind, they actually got a lot out of that. That was a 2-for-1 trade, and they got like 2,000 experience off of that and about 1,500 gold, I think. So if they can manage to pull that off once or twice more, Spectre is one of the best late game carries and is great for this type of game if you get back on your feet. Now, the main concern for Knicks was that they would never get back on their feet, but should they be able to do this once or twice more, we might see Ush get his next item. He's currently on 2.3k gold. I'm thinking Radiance for him as the ultimate comeback item here. He might try to go for more of a combat build if he feels like the Radiance will be too late. But right now, keeping the gold, I think, is the right choice. See what happens in the next 3 to 4 minutes and then build based on that.
I think that's what's truly lovely about the Spectre carry nowadays is solely because of the comeback mechanic. Even if it has been dialed down a bit, it's still a very strong mechanic that is in place in Dota 2. And that means the Spectre, as a carry, she's one of those carries who need a high amount of net worth, a high amount of gold just to be able to pick up that Radiance. So being a part of any of these kills actually means a lot for her. Even if you don't actually get that last hit, just being a part of the kill can give you so much extra net worth because of the comeback mechanics if you are behind like that. And I think you're going to be continuing to see sneaky Nyx Assassins trying to abuse that as much as possible and look for additional kills and go for this like 4-man push, trying to force team fights and allowing the Spectre just to free farm one side of the map while the rest of the team pushes in the other.
Yeah, it's about time for them to start doing some damage to the towers. I think the most damaged tower right now for Cloud9 is the mid tower, which has lost 149 health. That's in a 19-minute game against a solo mid Death Prophet, so the Death Prophet hasn't really been put to use much, apart from the team fights. I think TC has been... He's been playing well, to be honest, considering how difficult his lane was. He's made a good comeback here. He's 4-3. He's got 100 CS with a pretty fast Eul Scepter, all things considered, and has been where he needed to be, but the whole pushing side of Death Prophet we haven't seen just yet. And as far as the team fights go, if he doesn't start taking map control, I'm just afraid he will be focused out really hard by the Radiant heroes later on. If Spectre doesn't deal enough damage and isn't a big enough threat, they will just tunnel vision TC in every fight to begin with.
Right, and just completely ignore the Spectre, who is oftentimes, if you don't get those big damage items in these early team fights, he's very reliant on Desolate, which is, you know, only procced when you're going up against a hero who's isolated, and you're running into these 5-man team fights that Cloud9, if they're very grouped up together, you're getting no extra Desolate damage whatsoever, in which the Spectre is just easily a factor that can be ignored. Eternal Envy will respond up to this top lane push and farm up even more. We can see he already has a Linkens and going for possibly, do you think an Ethereal Blade? We've seen the build drop off heavily for Morphlings. Not nearly as many Ethereal Blades as we used to see, but do you think this game, the shotgun build, is viable?
I think, generally, first of all, the Morphling, something people often forget when you look at the shotgun build is that you have a team too. And most of the time when you look at Ethereal Blade, you're thinking, okay, how much damage can Morphling do? If you look at the rest of his team, how much damage can the team do? If you just Ethereal someone and you use Skywrath Ultimate, that's pretty much a kill. You have Frost Blast, Chain Frost, Clap from Brewmaster, Overwhelming Odds, and speaking of Bone Staff, okay.
Easy duel. He just completely disappeared, man. The double damage plus the nuke damage, it just completely overwhelmed one of the squishiest heroes in this game right now. Bottom lane, IX Mike is going to be gone on by the Clap. Now the ultimate following up, and IX Mike going to try and head to the trees to protect himself, but gets slowed out by Pylon Die, and an easy kill for Feda. 14-4 now, 21 minutes in, and Cloud9 in complete control of this game so far.
Yeah, and they're now going to go on Roshan, and there's nothing Nyx can do about this at this point. With Batrider out of the picture, they won't be able to get vision inside the pit unless... Yeah, they do actually have a decent ward here. Maybe this AA Blast is enough. They're going to haunt in as well.
Oh, this is risky though, Spectre.
They have to get something out of this.
Yeah,
they're two big cooldowns.
The two supports are isolated though. They're gonna be able to jump on him, but Ush is still. Oh, he just gets blown up. Highlight die, drops the ultimate, and is gonna be able to finish him up. Lich with that high amount of movement speed gets away. Yule Scepter self-usage is gonna be able to finish up Pi, but unfortunately TC is still going to be having death await him as Bone 7 sits there ready for the duel, and even more damage picked up by him. And the rest of Eternal Envy and his crew are just going to head right back to Roshan.
That was pretty crazy to see how much damage TC took to that Blade Mail duel, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
He lost the duel about as fast as the AA did earlier on.
Oh, they may not expect this one. Eternal Envy getting low. IX Mike unable to snag anything out of that. At the very least, he did get the Roshan kill, and the Aegis will pop as well. So thanks to that Ice Blast, plus the little bit of extra damage, they do manage to secure at least nullifying the Roshan advantage.
And Ush is getting close to the Relic. He's got 3.6k now in the Spectre, so the Radiance is not that far off. I think...
My biggest problem...
If you look at how... What was that?
My biggest problem is he's still going to have so many issues with that Blade Mail duel.
Yeah, and he's going to get replicated with the Radiance as well. So there's still a lot of counterplay potential from Cloud9, but I still think it's the right build. I think he has to deal a lot of spread damage here because the others... There's not going to be enough damage coming out if he doesn't have the Radiance. I think going for something like Diffusal Manta could also work. But the good thing about Radiance is that it ups his farming time as well, or his farming speed rather. So if he manages to get that off, if they manage to stall out the game, he will be able to catch up in pace to pretty much Morphling's pace. He's probably still going to be slower by a bit, but if you're looking at most games, Spectre is one of the heroes who can be behind by like 10k golden experience and still make a comeback just because of how much damage you do in mid-late game.
Right.
So if you're looking at a 20k net worth Morphling against a 15k net worth...
Bone 7! He doesn't realize it, but there's a counter ward just waiting for him. They will be able to get that kill. Fortunately, the counter ward, very fortunate positioning for them as Bone 7 just wanders right into it. And look at that one kill. 1,300 gold gain. That's a 1,700 gold swing right there, and another 2,300 experience gain from the side of Sneaky Nyx Assassins. It's insane, man. But look at that. 4 staff coming out for the Skywrath Mage at the same time as the Bat Rider. You got to be feeling a little bit scared when your offlaner is picking up the same items as the enemy supports.
This is a very important pickup for TC, though. The BKB is the perfect choice in this scenario. It counters out the entirety of Cloud9's lineup right now. The Morphling, who's probably headed for an Ethereal Blade, obviously can't use it on a BKB target. He won't take the Blade Mail damage when he's in BKB. Cloud9 has so much control between Brewmaster, Lich, and of course the Skywrath Mage, and he can negate everything. So he can play with a lot of confidence now. And I think this could be the chance that that Nyx will have in the next few minutes. When he gets level 16 on TC with that BKB available, they should be looking for a fight. Wow, this is a 24-minute E-Blade as well. If EE plays this correctly, he targets out someone else. Don't go for the DP. Yeah, okay.
It's going to be some extra duel damage for Legion Commander now, up to 52. 24.5 minutes in. And for me, it looks like it's going to be all about the initiation from here on out. As you said, the BKB is really, really strong pickup for SNA, and it gives them a lot more confidence going into these team fights. But if you're the first one to be dueled in a team fight, if Bone 7 is able to be the initiator, even just the Brewmaster getting a certain amount of damage from his clap and getting a good position for his ultimate, they will still wreck you in team fights. So I think it's just all about how they play around IX Mike's Bat Rider, and if they're able to get him to be the initiator rather than the other way around.
Good Ice Blast up top are actually not that good. It only hit Envy, so they could probably still keep this pressure going. They're going to hesitate for a little bit now until I guess they might see some heroes mid. No, they didn't see them, but yeah, they'll stick around here. Vata, however, is not there, and he doesn't have Boots of Travel, so should the Dire want to try to make an opening here, they could try for this fight. They'll see Vata was bottom, and it looks like this is indeed a fight they're going to try to contest, and the perfect timing here in the Radiance as well. If they get this lasso off on a key target, this could be the fight, but...
Jump in, 4 staff, popping the Lincolns, but unable to get the lasso. Now they're turning around. Look at that burst damage comes in from long range. Now Bone 7's going to jump on TC. He's going to get blown up. Nice ultimate coming out from Whitebeard, but it's not going to be enough. Possibly Ush, maybe with the Radiance. He's got a lot of targets very low. Bone 7 taking out from the Ice Blast. He will fall. And now it's Ush versus EE, but now Veda comes in to upset the odds, and he will be able to take down the carry. Unfortunately, Ancient Apparition already using that Ice Blast really can't contribute much else, and that'll just leave Veda to be able to claim this tier 2. So a 3-for-4 exchange, plus they got the tier 2 tower. Big team fight there for Cloud9.
If IX Mike would have got that lasso off, they would have stomped that fight. I think it's very overconfident from Cloud9 to go into a fight like that without the Brewmaster being there. It shows that they feel like they're in control of the game, but when you're playing against the Spectre, you need to keep your composure. It's very risky to go for a play like that. And fortunately for them, IX Mike messed that combo up a little bit, because that would have easily been a kill on the Morphling, I think. And if they would have tried to help out the Morph, they could have lost that fight 4-0, actually. And that, when you're ahead by like 15k gold in experience, you're giving at least 5k the other way. So
yeah,
luckily for Cloud9, that did not turn out that way.
Now, what do you think about this build coming out from Fade? It was something I talked to Mad before, the Battle Brewmaster build, where you don't go for the Aghanims. I feel like this is a game where you can definitely afford to go for the Aghanims. Obviously, it's a huge upgrade, but here you've got both the Legion Commander as well as the Morphling to fall back. Going into the late game, you don't necessarily need the Brewmaster to have that big presence, but it seems like Fade is going to be going for it anyway. He goes for this Salt Cuirass. Usually the follow-up from here is an Abyssal Blade, and at that point in time, you're actually a late game carry.
Yeah, it's kind of down to whether you think this 10 armor aura is better, or they of course persist through your ultimate. They go on the Earth Burling. So I would say in this game, it's kind of. Do you think the? Oh, okay.
IX Mike jumping in deep there.
They're all gonna die.
Yeah, that Ethereal Blade, the combination from Eternal Envy this early on into the game just destroys anybody, and IX Mike unfortunately is not going to be getting a BKB anytime soon.
To finish off on the Brewmaster thing, I think damage-wise, this build is definitely better, even in the split, than the other one. So it's kind of you need to evaluate damage versus control, and I think control Cloud9 has plenty of. They don't really need the clap on the Earth Brewmaster. They don't need the Drunken Haze on the Wind one, so they're going to be fine with just having these auras and great teamfight presence. Having plus 10 armor on all your heroes is incredibly good against Death Prophet, so
yeah,
I like this choice a lot from Faster in this game. I think it's the right one. And yeah,
and it also allows them to end the game faster.
Good too. Yeah, and they're a lot better at pushing too. That's a very good point. And 2 melee heroes too. Himself and the Legion Commander can make use of the lifesteal.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Ush, right now, he picked up a nice little vitality booster. Whether or not he goes to the Heart from here, I don't know. What do you think? Is going straight Heart the most optimal build, or does he meander into the realm of like something like a Manta? Do you go for any other possibilities here in this game? And BKB may be a necessity for him. It's not something that a Spectre likes to build, but this Ethereal Blade is just crushing everybody.
I think the Heart is still the best choice. He needs to tank up so much that he can go into the fights, and should he get E-bladed, he doesn't instantly die, because he will create so much space for TC to play in the fight. And we're talking a lot about the Spectre, but if Spectre starts being the focus target and TC gets a lot of space, then even if Spectre gets killed, just the damage you do with Dispersion and a couple of Desolate hits and when you get Haunt off is going to be enough. And if you get a Heart and a buyback, that's when it starts getting scary, because then you can just start a fight. Oh, Veda? Starting a fight. Veda is going to be in trouble here. He might get the split off.
Oh, and now it's going to be trouble time for Sneaky Nyx Assassin. The stun goes out onto IX Mike. He's only got Veda, but he may have enough damage since he's such a high level. He'll be able to drop him down in a second here. Goes for the stun, but nice blink away there from IX Mike. And he should be able to teleport out in time. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, Eternal Envy goes in, tries to pop TC. Couldn't quite get it in. TC just so close to being able to get off that silence. They could have potentially put Eternal Envy in a very bad position. But at least he lived through it. At the very least, you've got that much going for you.
I think Nyx were hesitating a little bit there. This is when you go in. You know Brewmaster is top. You know he used the split. You're 5-on-4. Go look for the fight. Like, even if you don't get in on the perfect initiation, just the fact that you force a fight and make it start, you can get the Haunt behind the enemy team and get a kill or two. And at this point, just getting 2 kills is such a big deal. Even if you commit all your ultimates to 2 kills, I would say it's way, way worth it.
Solely because you're so far behind, plus you have the Spectre who's going to be a part of those kills, probably no matter what happens, solely because of that ultimate plus the Radiance. So he's always going to be able to get a good amount of net worth. Speaking of net worth, unfortunately our Spectre still sitting at the 10,000 mark behind the Legion Commander, while Eternal Envy, he's almost doubling that. He is about to break the 20,000 mark.
Yeah, he's pretty much out of control in this Morphling. He hasn't even used his BKB yet. Now he's got 3k gold after that. So it's just whenever you have this map, the map under this much control, and you can do whatever you want. Morphling is one of those heroes who can really make use of it. The Replicate is pretty strong. You can actually even farm with it when you replicate the Legion Commander. Of course, he can push out 2 lanes in that way. And he is just getting every single creep from every wave in the bottom lane. Because Nyx are not taking any initiative right now. And I think they have to try it. When you've got your back against the wall, go make plays. If you don't make them, the enemy team will make them instead. You saw
jump to the top lane. Bone 7 trying to catch out Ush. He went for the nuke first, and unfortunately won't be able to find the opening. It looks like Ush jumped to Owie. Now he's going to jump farther down, and still Eternal Envy able to get to him. Ethereal Blade and pops him real quickly beyond godlike. Already for Eternal Envy. Now sitting at 4,100 gold. What do you think? It's just straight Scotty from here. Make that transition into a big right clicker now.
It's Scotty or Butterfly, whatever he prefers. I think the Scotty might be a better choice just because as far as the evasion goes, it's not really that necessary here. Just more tankability is probably better against both the Death Prophet and the Spectre, to be honest, by getting the Scotty here. Right. If he wants to get just the maximum potential out of his shotgun, the Butterfly will do more of that. Oh, Fata.
Ike's Mike just trying to get the fire out in front now. Eternal Envy's going to jump in. Not quite enough damage, though, to kill off Ike's Mike, but they do have the confidence to be able to push uphill now. Jump in. Oh, what an echo slam. Goes in, Bone 7. Immediate dual return, but there's still 2 heroes down in exchange. Bone 7 trying to get himself away, but TC's doing a lot of damage with this exorcism. Now going to be Yule sceptering up the Skywrath Mage. Possibly they can go for 2 here. Ike's Mike is going to be slowing him bound. Oh, the flame break. Bounced him further away. Bone 7. Oh, one last hit. They need something here. The exorcism will be able to get him. Farther up, we do have Pylai Die, who is able to force staff himself up. Ike's Mike, he's got a force staff of his own here, possibly could be able to get it. Oh no, the flame break, they're not going to be. Oh, the Yule Scepter goes out just in time with the reveal, and they will be able to get an additional kill. And this is so important, even Ush is going to be able to be a part of it here. Big turnaround there for Sneaky Nyx Assassins. It's now 26-13, and look at that fight recap.
Immediate value out of that Blink Dagger coming in from Whitebeard. That's what they were waiting for, and it's kind of crazy to see. He just got that Blink and 2,000 gold with that initiation as well. He just got a Force Staff out of his Blink in one play. And you know, that's about a 5,000 dip on both fronts here. It's still possible here for Sneaky Nyx. They need to do it again, and that's the hard part, because now Cloud9 is ready for it, and they're going to be playing around that Blake Dagger. On top lane, they're going to find Owie, another freebie here.
Oh, the Chain Frost bouncing around a little bit. Both heroes are more than tanky enough to be able to survive through it, though, and that's the thing. They find that great team fight in the bottom lane, they immediately go for more with a smoke-up rotation to the top lane and find that extra pick-off that they really need to continue this control. Like Cloud9, they want to be able to get their 5 heroes up as soon as possible, go back to controlling the map, but Sneaky Nyx Assassins, not only with that pick-off, but the great team fight, they've just pushed out some of the lanes. They're going to be able to much more economically take advantage of the map, spread their heroes out a little bit more, farm up much better than they were before, because they were so clustered constantly. Many of their heroes were just stuck in base, not really doing anything, just waiting for Cloud9 to make their move. And finally, Sneaky Nyx Assassins find their opportunity to get a little bit on the offensive.
And it's also just the whole mentality aspect that they feel like they're getting some momentum right now. That's probably going to make them go for more plays. I think they do have smokes available still, or maybe not. There's 4 minutes cooldown. No, as a matter of fact, they don't have any, but it's still not out of the question that they can try to find some, go out for some aggressive plays here. I would like to see them pick up a gem and try to get map control here on at least their own half of the map, so that whenever Cloud9 overextend just a little bit, which they will eventually, because they're still playing with a lot of confidence and want to farm as much as possible, they could find an opening, and that can make, once again, a huge difference should they get 1 or 2 kills. Whitebeard, speaking of which, is in a really good position right now. He might try to go for this one, but he gets pinged out. Fata pinged out the side here, saying there might be someone out here, and as a matter of fact, Whitebeard was exactly there, so...
I'm not sure. He might have gotten revealed when he moved through that gap. This gap right here, he went up. I'm not sure if because of the fact it was daytime that they were able to see through that area and be able to spot him out, making that rotation over. But either way, Cloud9 having the awareness, going to be able to avoid that attempted gank from Whitebeard and just go right back to farming. Eternal Envy is currently sitting on Ethereal Blade Lincoln's BKB plus another Ultimate Orb and 2,700 gold. So he is actually quite close to the Scotty that he's going to be looking at. TC, though, finishes up a heart. And that means he can start building in for, like, potential Shivas as his next upgrade. And that means he has very, very much less to fear up against the right-clicking Morphling that we're eventually going to be seeing. Right now, he's all about that shotgun, but as soon as you finish up that Scotty, I feel like you make that transition to where you're not just a burst damage hero, you actually do an incredible amount of physical damage as well.
And it's kind of crazy to think about that Nyx are 15,000 gold behind. Like, it's a really big deficit. It's just their composition of heroes. I think I would say that if Nyx are 10,000 gold behind, it's an even game, just in terms of value in team fights. Because it's not about the graphs, it's about how the gold is distributed and how much impact they get. The fact that both TC and Ush are getting somewhere on their cores means that it's fine that AA is completely poor as long as he gets a good Ice Blast. He's level 11. It's all he's going to need. Actually, for the rest of the game, this could be enough on Fluff. Whitebeard has a Blink and a Force Staff. He won't need more items. So as long as the cores are somewhat keeping up with the big cores on Cloud9, it's fine that the supports are behind. Even the Batrider soon getting a BKB, that's also the core inventory of a Batrider. Blink, Force, BKB is enough. And now the Spectre getting that hard. I think it's not out of the question that Nyx might actually come back and win this game all of a sudden, and they were really far behind.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the bottom lane, though. Ice Blast gonna come in, hits Pylite Die. Ice Mike will make that jump, snags Pylite Die before the Force Staff can go out, and he'll just pop him with the Ice Blast. It's going to be able to ensure the kill, and Ike's Mike will now make his retreat. He found that pickoff and is now way out, and this means Cloud9, they know they're not going to be able to force any 5-man action. Instead, oh no, Eternal Envy, he finds the pickoff on Fluff and stuff and goes right into the Roche pit to claim his Aegis.
Yeah, the question is if Cloud9 will be using this right now. I think Eternal Envy is in a really good spot right now to just play extremely aggressively onto the Spectre and try to force the Spectre out of the fight with the Aegis and the Scotty in tow now, as well as his BKB, still with 10 seconds on it. There's no real stopping Eternal Envy. He's got 42 armor, and that's without the Brewmaster next to him. Then he has 52. Like, how are they even going to damage him with Exorcism? He is pretty much immortal right now when he gets in. So the challenge for Nyx here is trying to kite around Envy and focus on other heroes, but kiting a Morphling who has Scotty is pretty difficult, and there goes the tower. Nyx has to make one more big fight to really have made the comeback in this game, and I don't know if Cloud9 is going to let them.
Yeah, they don't even have the Skywrath Mage, and yet they feel so confident just running into the enemy space like that. I mean, we saw Fada just go in for like the blind blink, just being able to see if he can find somebody in time, and Eternal Envy just waveforming in to claim that tier 3 tower, no problem. Meanwhile, though, Ush is finding something. He's going to be able to claim this tier 1 tower in the top lane before the fight occurs.
They got a tower.
Continue to push.
It's the first tower for Snow.
That's right.
38-minute game with Death Prophet.
Perhaps the comeback is real.
By the Spectre. But they're
jump in.
Well, all good opening.
Eternal Envy, he's going to be brought back into the Ice Blast. The duel goes off at the same time on the TC. They will be able to take him down. Eternal Envy is low. There goes that Aegis. Mike, he's trying to get himself away, and you're right, TC. No Exorcism and no buyback, and Ush is just left alone to try and carry this fight. Good Echo Slam, but it's still not quite enough. He brings both Beta and both 7 low, but it's not enough. Ush comes back into the team fight, but still unable to finish off any one hero. And yep, you're right. He's done for, and with no buyback on TC either, it looks like this is going to be at least a guaranteed set of racks. They bring back Ike's Mike, but he quickly blinks himself away, and you can see Cloud9 taking complete control of Sneaky Nyx Assassin's base, and it looks like this may be the beginning of the end for Sneaky Nyx Assassin's attempt at a comeback.
That duel really just decided the game there.
Oh, absolutely.
Cloud9 were still really far ahead, don't get me wrong. It's still a good gold advantage that they had, but should they have lost that fight, I would say it's a full-on comeback for Nyx, and they can actually start taking fights more reliably, but TC did not get anything off. He did not get his ultimate off, not get his Euls off, not get his BKB off. He was just caught off guard by Bone 7, and the moment that happens, the game just ends when he doesn't have buyback. There's nothing more to say to it, really. He was just out of position. That's game. They're going to lose 3 lanes here. Spectre with the dieback, they have no chance of winning team fights without him.
Oh, nice hold.
He doesn't have the Aegis.
Oh, man. They didn't have the Ice Blast up, and of course, Ike's Mike unable to get the hold in time before the replicate out. So Cloud9 will just back themselves up after taking both the bottom lanes of racks as well as the mid. They can afford to sit back, farm. They could even, if they wanted to really play it safe, they could just sit back, wait for the next Roshan if needed, and just farm up those next set of items. We can get Eternal Envy grabbing a Butterfly if he wants to. Bone 7 is incredibly farmed now with the Desolator pickup that he just got, making this Death Prophet even squishier than she was before. And look at Fada. He's got 3,400 gold right now, so if he wants to, he can go for that attempt at an Abyssal.
You really like that Abyssal?
I like it a lot. I actually think it makes a Brewmaster such a hero. I mean, we for so long viewed Brewmaster as more of a mid-game initiator, and late-game potential did drop off because of the Aghanim build that we would normally see. But when you see that Abyssal build, it gives him a lot of amazing amount of damage, a heavy amount of burst as well, thanks to that kind of guaranteed crit, plus some extra lockdown as well.
I would definitely agree that Abyssal Blade is really good now, but I think he had to get the BKB first, which he did.
True.
So I think Fada made the right call here. I would say the next item, depending, like you said, which direction he wants to go in, there's kind of 4 core choices, I would say. One is the Axe, which if he wanted that, he would have got it earlier.
Right.
The other one's the Abyssal Blade. Then there's the Hex.
Yep.
And there's also a fourth one, which I completely forgot, but I did have a fourth one.
Something like Shiva's?
There it was.
That's the double armor item.
There we go. Yeah, because they're still lacking a Shiva's guard on the Radiant side.
Right.
But, I mean, we're just theory crafting at this point anyway. This is probably going to be the death push. There needs to be an
Who needs a creep wave? They've already pushed through middle. They can just run right up into this tower. Bone 7 even popping the BKB and looking for somebody. TC is going to run in with the exorcism. They're just going straight for the buildings, man. They're done with this game. They're ready to end it right here, right now. They finish off the buildings and now will back themselves up, abandoning Bone 7 to his fate. But it doesn't matter. They've got Mega Creeps.
That's
42 minutes in. Sneaky Nyx Assassins. Now, I mean, this would be the comeback of the century if they manage to turtle this out long enough up against Mega Creeps. There's no way they can just 5-man death push because look how many towers they have to eat through. There's still a tier 1 tower in the middle lane. And there it is. Fluff and stuff calls it.
It's just over.
So, Sneaky Nyx Assassins, I mean, they gave up a really good game, right? They almost came back into that. It was just that last fight where we had TC being picked off by an excellent dual initiation there from Bone 7 that really sealed the deal. But until that point, we were beginning to see the signs of a comeback for SNA.
That was a pretty valiant effort considering how much they got destroyed in the laning stage. It was looking really grim and they were getting further and further behind. Then they pulled out a couple of good plays and almost got back into it, but I think the recipe for more success in game number 2 is you cannot draft this. I think, again, this support duo was too weak against what they were up against. They're going to have to get better for the laning stage for next time.
All right, guys, well, we'll see what Sneaky Nyx Assassins do going into game 2 and what kind of draft that we are